Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Elite Weather Forecasting. Meteorologist Mr. G here with you with your weather forecast for your Tuesday evening. We're going to talk about here. Hope you guys had a great day at work or school, whichever one you had to do, as we talk about your Wednesday and your upcoming Thursday weather forecast. So let's jump right into it and look at our upper air pattern that we're going to be seeing tonight and into your Wednesday. And what we're going to be seeing here is pretty much a nice long wave pattern going on across the northern half of the country. We got a broad area of high pressure here across the center of the nation, mostly across the southern plains and the Gulf Coast. And then we have a trough in the east. So a nice trough across the northeastern section of the nation. So we're going to keep those temperatures nice and cool across the Great Lakes and into the northeast. But we do have a little bit of ridging in the west. So we're going to see a slight warm up across the Pacific Northwest and in the Northern Rockies and the central and northern plains. We're going to see a little bit of a warm up as well. But milder conditions across the southwest, and we won't be seeing any triple digit heat over the next several days as well. So much improvement across the west coast of the nation. And we have some energy here through the Rockies and across the northern tier of the nation, the northern plains here, the high plains up into Montana, and just over the Canadian border. We have that piece of energy that's going to be moving off slowly to the east here. It's very disorganized, not a whole lot of energy with it, and there's just enough moisture available for it to have something to work with. So we're going to be seeing some areas here through parts of Utah and Colorado that could see some flash flooding as far as those storms is concerned, and as well across northern Minnesota, we could be seeing a little bit of flooding issues with heavy rainfall as well. Now let's take a look at things down at the surface. As we look at our surface issues, and what we have now is that area of low pressure and associated frontal boundary, and there's a couple of troughs intermingled in there too. So it's just a whole mess of some showers and storms here through the Rockies and across the northern Rockies and the high plains of Montana into the northern plains of North and South Dakota. So we got that wet weather, and even some that's going to spread into northern Minnesota, where we could see a little bit of heavy rainfall in that area that could lead to some flooding, and our storm system here in the northeast that's going to be lifting off over there into Canada. So that's going to be into Nova Scotia by the time we get to the end of the day on Wednesday. But our trailing cold front here will clear the eastern seaboard and move out over the Atlantic, but we will have the southern trough, this southern frontal boundary here, that will kind of get stuck across halfway through the state of Florida. So Florida could see some showers and thunderstorms from that frontal boundary and down here across far southern Texas, as the tail end of this guy could spark a few showers and storm down here from Houston down to Del Rio and the Rio Grande River Valley down there at the Mexican border. So that is a look at our surface. Now let's talk about that weather forecast. We've talked a lot about it already. Here is our front where it's going to be on your Wednesday. There is that frontal boundary halfway across the state of Florida. So we have those showers and thunderstorms across the Sunshine State. And we have that monsoonal moisture out to the Four Corners and through the Rockies here, through Utah and Colorado, where we can see some flash flooding as well, with some of those showers and storms up in the mountains, and also across the Great Basin there over portions of Nevada. We're going to be seeing some of that rainfall. And a few more showers and storms are going to be possible through eastern New Mexico, northwestern Texas, also through Nebraska and the Dakotas and Minnesota, the northern half of Minnesota. We can see some showers and thunderstorms for your Wednesday, and then those showers and storms will extend to the Canadian border across the northern Rockies, over western Montana and northern Idaho, and far eastern Washington as well, and extreme northeastern Oregon might pick up a shower or a storm. But this is going to be very scattered and isolated, and a lot of this is not going to reach the ground. It's not a very organized system up that way, so it's going to just enough to cause a mess of some showers and storms, but we're not going to see any severe weather associated with that guy. But it is just enough moisture for it to be a nuisance. So some beneficial rainfall through some portions of the Northwest out there from that guy, but it's not going to be enough to make any kind of dent in your drought situation. Lovely weather across the Southwest as we see those temperatures start to cool down a little bit, and we're going to talk about those temperatures in just a second. But dry weather down across southern Arizona as well as into California and Oregon and Washington on the coastal sections. Very dry weather and much cooler conditions as well, and we'll talk about those temperatures in just a moment. Here is your Thursday forecast. Now, that heavy rain is going to be focused more on northern Minnesota, the upper peninsula of Michigan, and far northern Wisconsin. So we have a warm front that's going to be lifting to the north associated with this guy as it gets a little bit better organized as it moves into the upper Mississippi Valley and towards the Great Lakes. We're going to see cyclogenesis take place, so that guy is going to intensify as it moves on off toward the northeast as we have that troughing across the east. So it's going to inject a little bit more energy into this system. So we're going to see a little bit more in the way of rainfall around the Great Lakes as we move in towards your Friday. So, but in the meantime, you're going to enjoy nice weather in the northeast, dry day for your Wednesday and Thursday. And again, another dry day across the southeast on Thursday, with the exception of the state of Florida, where we have our stationary front now that's going to be dropping some of those showers and thunderstorms across that region and across portions of southern Texas here along the Gulf Coast. From Houston here, and here is Del Rio and Laredo, Texas, down there near the Mexican border. We could be seeing some showers and thunderstorms as well. Dry weather for the rest of Texas to the west through New Mexico and Arizona and the state of California. Oregon and Washington will have a dry and sunny day as well. Maybe some showers through the Rockies, through the Northern Rockies here, through eastern New Mexico. Not New Mexico. Well, no, yeah, not New Mexico. Dry day for New Mexico. But eastern Nevada, northern Utah, northern Colorado, Wyoming, and Idaho, and southwestern Montana, you're going to be seeing those showers and thunderstorms. Showers and storms are going to be possible through Kansas as well as Nebraska, eastern South Dakota, eastern North Dakota, and northwestern Minnesota, with the exception of far southeastern Minnesota. From the Twin Cities south, dry weather, but Twin Cities north, that chance of showers and thunderstorms, and that heavy rain across northern Minnesota. So Duluth to the Canadian border could see that heavy rainfall for your Thursday. So here's a look at the temperatures for the next couple of days as well. Now we have our warm spot of the nation. It's going to be the Central Plains as we have a little bit of warm air advection ahead of that weather system that's moving across the northern tier of the country, across the northern plains. That guy is pulling up a little bit of that warm air from the south. So we're seeing those temperatures in the 90s from Texas through Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, and into the Dakota. So we can see those temperatures in the upper 80s. We're talking about 88 to about 95 degrees. We're going to see those temperatures for your Tuesday. And we're going to see those upper 80s and lower 90s through the southeast, down through the state of Florida, and along the Gulf Coast. Quite a bit less humid as well. So a lot less humidity and a little bit cooler on the temperatures. No triple digits across the southwest, so we're going to see those temperatures in the 90s across southwestern Arizona and extreme eastern California through the Mojave and the Sonora deserts out there. We're going to see those temperatures in the 90s. We're going to start to see 50s through the Rockies and maybe the potential for a little bit of snow. I did not mention that. We could see some high elevation mountain snow through central Colorado on your Wednesday and Thursday. And we're talking about a snow and rain mix. No accumulations are expected, but you could see a few flakes in those extreme high elevations on Wednesday evening and Thursday evening and in the early mornings as well. And we're going to see those nice weather conditions as far as the temperature is concerned in the Pacific Northwest. We're going to see those 60s and temperatures in the 70s and 80s across California as well, and 90s in those eastern deserts. And as we take a look at your Thursday, finally, let's talk about that as we see that heat kind of subside a little bit there, and we're going to see those temperatures fall back a little bit through the 80s, through the plains, and maybe some 90s along the Gulf Coast here through southeastern Texas, from Houston through New Orleans, through Gulfport, as well as over to the Florida panhandle here. We're going to see those temperatures approach the 90-degree mark. But we're going to see 80s for the most part across the southeast and through the state of Florida, as well as the southeastern U.S. along the Atlantic coast there. So the Carolinas and Georgia, we're going to see those temperatures in the 80s. But what's interesting is 50s and 60s through portions of the Northeast for your Friday or your Thursday and into Friday. So we're going to see those things cool, but you may get a half a day or so of a slight warm up because that system that's moving across the northern plains and into the Great Lakes is going to eventually affect the Northeast by the time we get to this weekend. So about Saturday, you can expect to see the effects of that northern latitude storm system as it moves across along the U.S.-Canadian border there. Pretty much it's going to stay along that track. It may drop a little bit to the southeast when it approaches the Great Lakes or passes Minnesota and Wisconsin, and it could intensify a little bit, much like the last system did, where we saw some severe weather through portions of Minnesota as well as into Wisconsin. So we can see a repeat of that. We had a weather system traveling across along the U.S.-Canadian border that didn't look very interesting, was very disorganized, didn't have a lot of energy with it. But once it got to the Great Lakes, that cyclogenesis kicked in and it moved into that trough. It rounded the top of the ridge, dropped into the trough, cyclogenesis kicked in, and we saw that spin, that spin kick up, and that guy hit it up, shot up across the Northeast. We're going to see this kind of the same scenario with this system as we move on through the end of the week. That's all I have for now, guys, for your next couple of days. Thanks for watching me. I have that 212 subscribers. We're trying to get the channel up a little bit more, so if you're watching this, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate that. Leave your likes and comments down in the comment section. Let me know what you think of my weather forecasting, and I will be back in the next video. May not be able to do one every day because I am in my school session right now as I'm working on my degree. So I have homework, so I won't be able to do a video every single afternoon, but we definitely might try to do one in a couple days, and we will have several this weekend. So thanks for watching me. Leave your likes, comments, subscribe. See you guys all in the next opportunity for me to make a video and a forecast for you guys. Bye-bye.